Well, I hope you all had a really nice and wonderful, relaxing weekend. I hope you had some sewing, you had some family visits. I had a few days where I was digging in the garden. So I basically am a spring gardener, and I was getting all these little plantings in. I buy the small ones because I always feel like I get a better deal. Put a lot of small ones in, fertilize them. I'm Pat Sloan. This is my Fireside Chat. Thanks for being here. So the planting went pretty well. Took a while. It has gotten pretty warm for Virginia already. The end of May. It is it is summer weather, but that's good because I love it. I love the warm. So tonight I'm wearing my So What t-shirt from Fat Quarter Shop. Kimberly puts out these really cute t-shirts, and I just love them. This is hot pink. I like it. Pink, pink, pink. So the other thing is I do, this is a time of year where like fruits come in, and some vegetables that you don't get other times of year, like watermelon, and you get peaches start coming in, and cherries. So cherries. So my stepmom, my dad's wife, Karen, she and I like cherries a lot, and the guys not so much. If one happens to like float in through things, they won't have a fit, but you know, they aren't going to just go and eat cherries. So we were over there the other day, and she bought a bag, because you know, like a lot of times you have to buy a bag of them, or you have to stand there in the grocery store and unpick the bag. So she bought a bag and gave me half the bag. So I'm like, this is my snack tonight, is fresh cherries. I'm so excited about that. Love them. So a few things I'll share today. One of them is I had a really great question left on, I don't know, I think it may have been on the YouTube comments, and I don't remember who left it, but it has stuck with me. The comment or the question was, could I talk a little bit about how to pull fabric together from our stash to do the projects that I do? Because not all the time will you have beautiful fabric and you want to use it. You don't always want to go maybe buy new fabric. What? Of course you do. But sometimes it's good to use what you have. And so I thought I would show you how I would look at my fabric that I have to build a collection. It's easier when I do like I'm going to do for the Wednesday sew along. So it's easier for the Wednesday sew along for me to just do a bundle, and then you have a visual. No matter how you approach it, you know what bundle I'm working with. So in this case, let's go down here. And let's work down here. So I am using the Country Store, and these are all the fabrics from that. And they come in several sets. And so we'll just sort of come in here a little closer while we're talking about this. So they have this whole bundle, all of this is the Fat Quarter bundle. And then I bought extras of some of the pieces because I want to be sure I have enough for what I'm doing, because I design this as I go. It's not all done in advance. So I have no idea what I'm doing. I'm really literally designing it as I go, which is fun for me, and it's a mystery, and it's fun for everybody. So here are the blues, and then there was a smaller subset of green. Then it has what I would call, red, pinky red. There's one deeper red, and then the pinks. So things that read pink. And like for me, this one, I put that in the pink because it has pink flowers versus doing a white group. It also had one white or cream in it. So what I'm going to do is show you how I would approach collecting for these two colorways. You could collect out of your stash for all 4 colorways. Pink, red, pinky red, pink, pinky red, blues, and greens. And then you might have fabric you want it more bright. You might want it more traditional, like Civil War. It's still the same concept no matter what you're looking through. So let's do blue first. So if you look at the blue that's here, there are some, I sort of have them grouped to make this a little faster. There's some darks, there's a couple of stripes, and see that green, that stripe has a green in it, and so I could put that over in the green pile. That has a pink in it, so I could put it with the pinks, but it also has the blue. And then these are all sort of the darker blues there. And then we have lighter blues, and then there's sort of some that are more medium. I'll put this one in a light, and we have some that then I think, well, this is dark, right? So put that up with the darks, and then these are more medium, and this one, it could be that I would put it in the medium. So these are sort of the range of blues that I have to work with. That doesn't mean every one of these are going to be used. When I'm using the fat quarter bundles, I am doing a much bigger set of fabric than I will actually be using. The fabric bundle has more fabric in it than can fit in the quilt. This quilt, Main Street, which we start tomorrow, Wednesday, has 12 blocks, 12.5 inches, plus sashing and a border. So these blues, now how would I approach that? I went and just pulled a set of blue. Now this is not all the blue that I own, but I pulled this set so that I could show you how I would look at it. And you could take what you own and mimic the balance of dark, medium, light, or not. You could instead, my phone is ringing. Can you hear it? I'll have to call them back later. So you could mimic it's probably a wrong number, or spam. So you could mimic dark, medium, light, or you could go more light or more dark. You know, everybody has their own interests and what you really like about fabric, and so that's what you should go with. So here, if I was going to, and I didn't pull these that say that they go together. I just pulled them from what I owned. The next thing I do is decide what goes together. This is called auditioning. That's what I do. It's called auditioning. First, I have to actually get it all out so that I know what I have, because I can't see it when it's in a bin. So let's see. Then I have some other blues here that are kind of a different shade of blue. And then I have these that are a different shade of blue. So they are much lighter than these, are more brilliant. And then we have all kinds of other shades of blue here in my grouping. Here's another dark over here. It's just a piece. You know, when you have your own stash, you are not going to have a full fat quarter probably of everything that you're pulling out. That is, the reality of it. Like this, like I've used it for stuff. So I don't have a full fat quarter of that anymore. I'm just grouping them loosely. Now this I have a lot of. It's a dot, so it's a little bit bigger chunk, and that's really light. So I'm going to leave these over in the lights. There's two different kind of light stripes, and then I have a huge piece of this stripe, which, actually if I were to want this to look more blue, I probably have enough of this that it could be a border, eventually. So if I were to think, oh, well, let's measure that, and yes, I want that as a border, then I need to keep this out, so I keep it in mind for the shades of blue that it has. And then here's another lighter blue. So because I have these various blues, like I would probably want to decide whether I want any of this real brilliant blue in here or not. Like if I were to, I could leave the butterflies, but I think if I took these two more brilliant blues out, the whole thing feels more cohesive. And cohesive is a word that means it feels together. Now, in reality, you can't see probably the colors on your monitor as true as I'm seeing them with my eye in person. But there are a couple blues that I would probably take out of this collection. This one has a lot more of a green tone in it. It's got this sort of more aqua-y stuff, so I probably would take that out. And this particular piece I may or may not leave in here. It actually looks pretty good with that border, and it looks good with this piece. But if I want to use these, you can probably even see that. They're sort of a really different shade of blue. And this is not a big quilt, and you're going to have large pieces. So let me talk about that a second. So that blue I have to decide, I'll show you in a sec. So one of the things is when you have a bigger blocks with bigger pieces, a 12-inch block, you know, if you've been following along with me, we're doing 2.5-inch squares, or probably some of the smallest sizes you have, up to 4-inch squares, you know, things like that. So that means you have more of that fabric visible, and you only have 12 blocks. So to get them all around the quilt, you need to be aware that the pieces are going to have a lot of it visible. A lot of the fabric is visible. So I want them to look good together on the table. You know, like if they don't look good on the table, they are not going to get any better when you cut them up into the quilt. The quilt has just got too large of a pieces for that. So in the case of this grouping here, and it's probably hard on your monitor, but I would say I either have to go with these two or with this one or the other. And this one looked really good with the stripe. It had a real similar feel to it, and with several of the other prints. This one is a little bit more dulled down, and so I will take that one out. So from that, I have a group of blue fabrics, which do not necessarily look exactly like the bundle that I'm using, this bundle here. You know, they're not exactly alike this at all, but they give the same feel. So if you're looking for the same feel from your stash, this is how I would go about it. Pull it all out, bring in, you know, just lay it out like this until you can see what you actually have. All right, so let me just move this very unceremoniously over there, because I want to talk about the green now, because there's a really specific thing about the green that I want to point out. This is a pretty vibrant green in the country store fabric line that I am using. And so if you look a little, come down close, the other thing you'll note is that it has a lot of tiny prints. Except for like this one, it's a little bit bigger, you look medium, but these are all fairly tiny, they're fairly tonal, and they don't have a lot of different colors, except for this one that has that pop of pinky red. Everything else is pretty much Reed's green, like the further away I hold it from you, let's see, how can I stay in the camera? But anyways, it stays green. So that means if I have some green up here, I just want to pull this out. If I were to look at the green from my stash, so here's a set of green. I'm just pulling like the most current little section. And one of the things you'll notice is there are sort of yellow greens and a little bit more blue greens, which, because I'm only dealing with, let's say you only wanted to deal with the same number of fat quarters that I had here, that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's 6 fabrics. So if I were to pick from here and want to pick 6 fabrics, I may want to keep them all one way or the other. Maybe I want to have a few lights. You know, this one's got a lot more white in it. Maybe I want to have that. You can also get more. You don't have to have just 6. You can have 10, you can have 12, you can have 30. It doesn't matter what you're picking from. The idea is that you look to see how do they feel together. This one with all of these sort of, I'd say more true green, and these are more like yellow green. And here you'll see some that have like a lot of red in them. And you noted like there wasn't a lot of other colors in the greens that I was working with. So I might say I'm going to use one bundle or the other. So if I were going to use, let's say, this bundle, and then I might say, well, I don't know that I want these two, because I want to give the feel like but you could use them, they'd be totally cute and totally fine, but you might decide that, oh, I don't want so much pattern in there, but instead I'd like to have some more lights. Was this going to be good? Probably not. That's too yellowy for me. That's got the yellow green. So instead I would put like this one that has more white, and then I might look up here in my bundle and see, do I have something else with a bit more white in it that has a bit more white? And let's see, oh, here, you'll recognize this. This was actually a better option. So these are older fabrics of mine, because they're all from, well, some of these aren't. These are newer fabrics. This one here is an older fabric that I've had for a little while. So you know, there I have a group. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There's 7 of them. And I would just keep all those. I don't even know if these are fat quarters. I don't know what size these are. They might be a little bit smaller, which means that eventually you might have to add in something else as you go along if you didn't have enough of this. So that is how I would approach, I think that's the best way to say it. That's how I would approach taking what I already own, looking at the fabric that I am using. Like if I am you, take what you own, look at the fabric I'm using, and then mimic the colorations. Now I'm not going into like how you would say you don't want to do blue but you want to do, you know, orange. Well, then that's a whole nother experimentation of auditioning your fabric. That's a whole nother kind of process of, you know, building a collection from scratch. Basically what I'm showing you here is how to build from your stash to mimic the colors that I'm using, because what you have to do is take each color, build a collection to work from that looks good together, you know, taking out things that didn't look good, you know, that kind of stuff. Okay, so let me know if that was helpful. If you have a question, like, you know, did I say something that didn't make sense, let me know and I will be back checking and answer it. Yay. So another thing I wanted to show you, let's see, let me do this one first. Couple things I got in, I will show you that are super cute, because you know there's always cute stuff. But also first, before that, I love the Virginia Quilt Museum. You know, about 1.5 years ago, I had my quilts on exhibit there, and it was such a great honor. So you know, I follow what they're doing, and they are right now running a campaign or an event, I guess you would call it. They're running an event where you can, for $5 donation to the museum, the Virginia Quilt Museum in Harrisonburg, Virginia, you can make a block and send it to them to hang in the museum. So here is my block, and I'll put a link to where you could do this. So you make the block, and there's some stuff we have to write on it, but I have to go read the directions again. I just finished the block. And it's out of my Bonnie Lane fabric, so my new fabric that'll be out in September. So I want to make it with that. But what'll happen then is all these blocks will hang in the museum in the summer. So you could go, if you're out and able to go to the Virginia Quilt Museum in the summer, you could go see your block hanging in a museum. Isn't that cool? And then if you don't want your block, if you want your block back, you send like a self-addressed stamped envelope and they'll mail it back to you. But if you want to donate your block, they are going to assemble them and have a raffle quilt out of these really neat blocks. And there have been some pictures they've been showing on their Facebook of how they put some of the ones they've gotten together and what it looks like. It's a really cool pattern. So I will link you to that, so you can also have a block hanging in a museum. I just think that's so cool. All right, I've got my little rolling assistant over here. I got this the other day because I just thought it was the neatest thing ever. It is a huge, it's a huge button, and it's a container. So there's the tag on the side, but here's the container. And I just thought this was the coolest thing. I thought it comes in several colors. I'm going to take the container and I'm going to take the tag off. Whoops. Oh, it's going to come off. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, it did. Yeah, no stickies left. Woo! So here it is. This is the container, and they would stack, you know, so if you got a couple of them. But I think it just looks like, I don't know, like a little old-timey sewing box, you know? I don't know. Like, you could put in whatever you're currently working on, and then you could leave it sit out because it's nice and cute. I think it looks really cute. And it's got a lid, you know, so I just think this is the greatest. Yay! So that's what I got. Plus, the Fat Quarter Shop has new Stash and Stow. So what do they call it? Yeah, Stash and Store. The Stash and Store that I've been showing you. I showed them to you the last time. They have new colors. And I know eventually they're coming out with a mini one. It's not out yet, but I've seen it. So here, look at this. Here's purple. if you are a purple person, I will link you up to where to get these. If you're watching while I'm on like the premiere of this, when I say I'll link you up, when it ends, go under the video and click the see more, and all of the links for everything I show you will be there. So there's also lime green, because I know some of you think lime green is a neutral, that is, whoop, can't get my finger in there. There we go. That some of you feel lime green's a neutral. So of course you will want the lime green one. Okay, I'm holding the box too tight. There we go. So we got the lime green one. And these are great because you can, the little, the rubber insert moves and shifts. So you don't have to set something just in the hole if you, want to. I don't have anything close by, but you can just shift it and put anything you want in there. And then they have one that's all white. So for those of you who have like an all white sewing room, which for me that would be kind of cool because I have a lot of white in here, but I like the red ones. So I'm gonna stick with the red ones. So those came in. They are all really great, and I want to show you something else because I use this all the time now. I started a while back, and a lot of people have said to me, "Oh, does it really work? Tell me about it, etc., etc." So I think I can do all this. I have got here on my table, I'll hold this up. Can you see? You can see to the back here a little bit. My top of my head's cut off. There we go. So I have a little mini iron from, I'll link you to this. Yeah, it's a clover. It's a little pink clover mini irons, and they are super hot. They work really good, and there's a dial. Can you see the dial in there? So I'm going to turn the dial to high, so it will heat up over here while I'm talking, and there you can see it. So while I'm talking, and what I want to show you is the wool pressing mats, and this is a pressing mat. There's a couple of different companies that make wool pressing mats. This is the one that I use, and they have 3 sizes. On my ironing board I use the largest. But when I've taught out in workshops, people bring the 9-inch because it is a great size to transport. It's super easy to bring along with you. So here it is. It is quite thick. What does this say? It probably tells me on here how thick it is. It is, yeah, it's a 1/2 inch. It's a 1/2 inch dense wool. And in the workshops I've been in, people were putting them right on their counter like this. And one thing I would do is, if I'm going to do more than just what I'm going to show you, which is a very short demo, if I was going to do more than that, I would definitely want to test this. I would heat something and then pick it up and feel the back, because that will let you know if that heat is going through that 1/2 inch thickness of wool. I don't think it will for the most part for most things, because that's pretty thick. This little clover iron gets really, really hot. It is not steam. There's no steam on it, and I've got it on high. But I want to show you pressing with it. I'm going to pull in close. I'm trying to be sure it gets heated up enough. Yeah, it's feeling pretty warm. So let's do this and go in a little closer. There we go. So when I use the pressing mat, this is how I press anything. So I thought I'd just tell you that. I use steam a lot because I like steam. But I have these tiny little 1/2 square triangles that were actually leftover sew-and flips from my Christmas fig. So what I do is I just warm up. I like to warm up the fabric a bit and then take it and press it over. Okay, I'm right-handed. I'm trying to do this left-handed, and that just is no good. So because there is no steam, it works really well with this wool. If you have steam, that's fine too. But there I go, just pressing them open. Now these have not been trimmed to size. Generally, I would trim them in advance. But I feel like warming the fiber up a little bit makes it press over really nicely. So here's the iron. I've got it up close so you can't see it sitting here. But that's how the pressing mat works. And I think it gives it a super nice, firm, flat press. And when I'm using the big iron, my Aliso, I will use steam. Now, the one thing is that this is wool, and so you will want to not spray on it, like actually spray. Like if I'm doing starch, I will take a cloth, and like if I'm starching, I will have this. Here, I'll just get this piece of fabric. So if I was starching, I would have this fabric down, and actually I probably wouldn't even starch on the wool. I starch on my ironing board because I can take that cover off and wash it in case, because when you starch, this will get wet. I mean, and then that starch will get on your wool. Personally, I don't want starch on the wool, so I don't press. I don't starch on the wool. I do that on the ironing board, the regular ironing board. Okay. The other thing is that it is wool, and if first of all, it'll have a little bit of a wool smell, like like wool coats, wool mittens, and that eventually, to me, that eventually has gone away. Although if I am steaming a lot, like really pressing steam, think wet wool. You are putting steam on wool, so it'll have a little bit of a wet wool smell for a very, very, very short period of time, and then it dissipates. So I just love them. I think they are so fabulous. I know there's a lot of different ones out there. I happen to use this one, which is a 1/2 inch thick, and I really like that density that it has. That's my favorite part about it. It's so thick. All right, let me turn this off. Turn the mini iron off. Okay, he's off. Now I want to remind you, I have a link that not only does Main Street, where is my fabric, right? Main Street, with all these gorgeous fabrics that I'm making in 2 different colorways. I'm using this Country Store and the Cheeky, which I've made the blocks today for tomorrow, and they are so cute. They're so cute. So that starts tomorrow, and then the following week is the week off, because I am in training at Baby Lock all day for 3 days, and so I don't want any new stuff. I will put up something something fun for you next week, but that also gives you a chance to get into it, because with 12 blocks, you don't want to get behind. So we'll have 1 starter block, and then after that, be ready. Get your fabric ordered. I know a bunch of you ordered fabric this weekend, so it'll come in time for the 2nd block. But I also have starting the Winter Wonderland, which there will be a fabric bundle of that coming soon. I have to write and find out a status. It really should be soon. And then the Witches Night Out, I have a Fat Quarter starter bundle and a link to a basic for background that I like. So that's over on the page I have for the project, for the all the sew-alongs. The sew-along page has everything listed. I will be doing a page for each project, but I've had so much that I needed to do that I haven't gotten to that yet. It's on my list, but there's just been a lot. So I will get that up. First one will be tomorrow, so that'll be up, and on the I Love to Make Quilts nav bar at the top, you'll see Main Street, and then also right below it are all the lists of all the sew-alongs. If you're looking for a past one or need to get a block from a past one, they're all listed there on I Love to Make Quilts, which is my sew-along website, because I have multiple websites. Okay, giveaways. I want to first say, put this over here, that last week the prize was this great package, charm pack of all these different color weave fabrics, so that you can use them for coordinating what you're doing. And then this bundle from the Fox Farm with the cute little barn fabric and the gorgeous red and blue and the polka dots with the little foxes. So that, plus the ironing mat and an Orifil thread. Go to Angela, I think it's Angela Moore. I wrote a note, but I can't read my handwriting. But what Angela wrote is that the question, okay, first the question last week was, what do you do on Main Street? Like what kind of activities, what has been one of your favorite things your town has done or that you do with a friend? And Angela wrote her whole family participated in the St. Patrick's Day parade in her hometown. And I thought that was really cool. So I will be emailing Angela. And then this week, I have such a cool giveaway. There's 2 parts, so let me show you the first part. Well, I'll give away this bundle of light fabrics. There are a whole bunch of them. They're all very tonal. There's some with yellow, some with blue. There's some with scissors. How cute is that? A floral. So this whole bundle, plus this really neat knapsack. Fat Quarter Shop and Lori Holt have partnered to do these these tote bag knapsacks. You know, like you can wear it on your back if you want to. Like, be great to going to the quilt show. Just fabulous, because you would be hands-free. You could just put that on your back and put your goodies in it. And it says, eat, sleep, stitch, repeat. I just love it. And inside, you know, it's just a great big open bag, but if you need to, you can, you know, do like this. It has a zipper for the important stuff. Like, so if you were to really want to go hands-free and pop your wallet and your phone in here, you can do that at a show. Or if you're just taking this with your stitching, you can put in all your project stuff and you're good to go. So this and the fabric bundle go to somebody this week, and I have to think of a question. Usually I try to think of the question first. So this week's question, I don't have one, so I'm going to think. Okay. So so what is your current favorite colorway? Like, are you working with red, white, and blue, you know, for the holidays? Are you doing green and yellow? Are you working on a black and white? You can tell me like what your current quilt is that you're working on, maybe something, maybe what fabrics you're going to pick for Main Street, if they, you know, what kind of colorway. So something about color, since we were doing the whole color thing in the beginning. So answer that. Now next week, we will probably have Fireside Chat on Sunday night. I'm trying to figure out if that'll work out because I have family coming in from out of town. So hopefully Sunday night. If not, it might be Friday night. It just depends on what's going on with my family and coming in from out of town. And then I leave to go to Baby Lock to do training next Monday. So, all right. Excited to talk to you tonight. I'm Pat Sloan. This is my Fireside Chat. Find me on Facebook at Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. Find all of my sew-alongs that I love to make quilts, or just go to my name, patsloan.com, and you can find it all. I will see you online, everybody.